Good afternoon, everyone. We kind of thin, rightfully so. We all know what's going on, but it's going to be all right. But anyway, come on in, Ms. Johnson. Well, it's good to be here. We see everyone here. We're doing some things a little different. And we all, as I always say, things have the ebb and flow. It's unprecedented time, but it's still good times. So with that, I am calling the meeting to order. This is a work session, as we all know. No actions is taken. And I will lead us with a prayer. We can all bow, please. Dear Heavenly Gracious, loving Father, we are right where you want us to be for a purpose. And Lord, as I've stated and we've stated, there's unprecedented times that we're facing right now. It appears to be some dark hours. But Lord, we know that you shine the brightest when things seem the darkest. And we're truly thankful for that. And you did that with our Son, Jesus Christ, who was able to give us a second and third chance. It was dark for all of us. Because of your mercies and your grace, you sent your Son that the light may shine and shine bright. We certainly thank you for it. And Lord, we know and understand that when things does appear to be dark, it's the greatest opportunity for us to have a defining moment as a city. And Lord, that's where we are. It's a defining moment for all of us as council, as leaders of this city, to rise up, to show people that we are really doing this for the right reason. And that we do care and love about every person in this community. But Lord, we know that through your grace and mercy, that only can we let our light shine for the right reason. Because God, we know that you are forever prevailing God, and we know you're going to prevail this time, not just for our community in Phenix City, which we certainly pray and hope that and know that you will do. But Lord, not only for this country or this state, but Lord, for this world. That you give us a chance to repent and to relent back to you, to do the things that we were created to do. But Lord, when things get tough, that's the right time for us to give of ourselves even more. Because God, we can then only show, not that we're awesome, but that you're awesome. We thank you and we love you, and we ask for your continued guidance and strength. In your Son's name we pray. Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen. Okay, with that, like I said, the meeting is called to order, and this is the work session. And as we all know, we take no action. We're just getting in preparation for the meeting tomorrow. Here you go.
Thank you very much.
Okay. We're not having Sean and his group to speak. So that would be done on April 6th,
Yes.
that we just found out. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And before I proceed on any further, have anyone heard from Steve? See?
Mr. Bailey,
Yes.
I think he's on his way back from his trip, and he will be at the
Okay.
council meeting tomorrow.
Okay. I just didn't want to.
He's all right.
As far as I know, yes.
We just
Not
didn't
with this
want
morning.
to ignore him. Let everyone know. Okay. All right. We're going to proceed on. And let me say this: we, city manager, we appreciate the sensitivity of us not taking this lightly. Although I have to say, it's probably not a good thing. I'm not that paranoid, so if you all keep me straight and keep me accountable. The city manager has already called me out, and I told him he ain't lying. He told me so. We got to be cautious. But again, thank you for the setup, and we hope everybody in this community understands that we do put safety first. So with that being said, at this time, Angel,
Yes, sir.
Planning Commission.
We had several items on the planning commission agenda. We had an approval of administrative replat of 4.31 acres located at 660 Lee Road 314. Roy and Catherine Culpepper owners. There's a large piece of property out there, and they were just cutting out a separate tract out there. So they took one lot and made it into two. It's just located in the planning jurisdiction, not located inside the city limits. That was approved by planning commission. Then we also had an approval of administrative replat, 182.17 acres west of intersection of Lee Road 312 and Lee Road 860. The Broad River Group LLC owners, that again, had a large tract of land. and they were cutting out one single lot. So
2 or 1?
we went from 1 to 2 lots.
That's okay.
Yes, sir, and that's also just in the planning jurisdiction. It's not located inside the city limits. We had a waiver request located on Somerville Road, Lee Road 248, for J.B. Shepherd, J. Gilbert Dyer Jr., James G. Dyer III, T. Bruce Wade III, and Jason S. Dyer. Planning Commission, and you all have seen this administrative replat several times. The Planning Commission approved it last time. It's on a private road. The subdivision's been in existence before 2005. It was built privately. It's privately maintained. They were going in and they were wanting to cut out each separate lot, and there's a private clubhouse that's on that property, and they were wanting to make it a separate parcel. We approved it through Planning Commission. Lee County turned them down on it because they didn't want the clubhouse to be just on a separate parcel. They wanted that to be tied back into the road parcel. So in order for us to approve the administrative replat, they've got to approve a waiver first, because our subdivision regulations say that it's got to be dedicated on a public right of way. Well, that was an existing subdivision when it was built, an existing private road. So Planning Commission did approve the waiver. City attorney and everyone had agreed that this was fine to do it on this one.
Okay, so we're good to go.
Yes, sir, we're good to go on that. So the waiver was approved. So the next item on the agenda was actually the approval of the administrative replat. Like I said, they were just sitting, there's several houses out there on that private subdivision, and they were going in and cutting off some lots and putting everything into their own piece of property, along with that clubhouse out there. So that's what they were trying to do. I believe just making sure that everybody had the proper ownership that they needed of that clubhouse. That administrative replat was approved by Planning Commission. And Lee County now will have to go back in and approve it, but based off the changes they made, Lee County will be fine.
What if they hypothetically have been done that? What if they don't approve?
Well, then they'll have to go back for our Planning Commission. Yeah, because the county engineer has to sign off on it. And then we also had an acceptance of a preliminary plat, Somerville Highlands subdivision, 25 acres located on Lee Road 248, Somerville Road, just north of Lee Road 314, Somerville Highlands, Mark Anderson. This was a preliminary plat. They're showing 60 lots there. It's off of Somerville Road. It's just in the planning jurisdiction. It's not located within the city limits. Lee County got involved in it and required them to do some additional turn lanes and ACL-DC lanes on Somerville Road. And so we brought it back before our planning commission. They approved it for acceptance, and it will be back up for public hearing and approval at next week's meeting. That's all that we have.
Any questions, council?
Let me ask.
That property is
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know where that big huge mansion is?
Yeah.
Before you get to that.
And can you explain, what's the difference between approval and acceptance?
In our subdivision regulations and in our bylaws, or the planning commission's bylaws, it says that they actually have to accept like a preliminary plat or a rezoning. They don't have to do it on an administrative replat, but anything like a rezone or preliminary plat, they have to accept it. So they basically, it means that they have taken it upon their review, and then they're going to review that at the next meeting for approval. I don't know why the bylaws will set up like that. Some cities, they accept it and then approve it, and some places just approve it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just the way our planning commission's bylaws were set.
The, item 6 and 7, so, the replat of, these two properties, they made it 1 into 2. They're privately owned, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And what they're looking just to build homes, get more for the property.
Yes, ma'am. That's what we were told. Like I say, these are just in the planning jurisdiction, so there's no zoning out there. We were told that it would be residential, but you know, it's
We have that.
yeah, it's not in our located in the city, so we can't have zoning out there.
It's jurisdiction. It is underwater, but,
Sir?
water, we tied into the water.
They are in our utility jurisdiction.
they pay, portion of the taxes come to us, I believe now. I just think
And I'm the city, we don't get any
We don't
taxes.
get tax, we just
You
get
just-
the
she
water.
said just
water.
Water and
and
sewer are in our jurisdiction. If they have water, they'll get water. If they have sewer, they'll get sewer. But we don't get no taxes. Not only county. No police jurisdiction.
Well, yeah, well, I'm in City county.
Well, yeah, we're in,
And-
inside the
That's
city,
why I want to
yeah.
make sure you explain to us, in city, Lee County, so we'll get, or you'll split that particular property.
Now what is
If it's
it?
in, but that's all we have now.
Yeah, that's not in
all
the
we
city.
have.
But within the city, kind of.
Yeah, we get taxes there, yeah,
Okay.
just like we do, same taxes we get anywhere in the Russell County.
Yeah.
That's no different.
Because of the annexation.
That way.
It's only if they're outside the city, we don't get taxes.
Okay, is that it, Bill? I'm gonna say, thanks.
Yes, sir, that was it.
I call Melanie so much. Listen, she gets tired of me, but I tell her to tell me all the time, pull me by the ears and hit me on the hand. I'm still loving her, mom, she still loves me, so. All right, any other question, council? All right, Melanie,
Yes.
now is you.
Okay. I just wanted to go over a few dates on the calendar. Of course, tomorrow is our regularly scheduled council meeting at 6 p.m. at the Martin Idlewild Community Center. I do want to cover on the 27th that was the Albert Patterson statue dedication on the 27th. It says Alabama Bicentennial Statue Dedication. That has been postponed. We got word right before we came into the council meeting that has been postponed, and I forwarded that out to y'all. April, our next council meeting is in 3 weeks after today, so that'll be the work session on April the 6th and the council meeting on April the 7th. And looking forward, April the 23rd is the mayor's fall thank you luncheon.
Yeah, it just, you know how that, yeah. We'll see.
As we get closer.
But the plan is on.
Then the other thing that I was gonna go over with y'all is, the board appointment, coming up in your April agendas will be for the Board of Education, but y'all always take those in April, even though they come up in June. So just a reminder on that. And both people have been contacted. They are willing to serve again. They do realize that they'll only be serving until the, election. And, when that board takes their oath, will be in that first in November. And then,
Was that someone talking?
oh,
Jimmy's
I thought it was Jimmy.
Back us on the phone.
it's Mr. Brown on the phone, he's present on the phone.
All right,
That was everything on my I'm sorry.
okay. Well, is anything at this point? I'm gonna have to refer to, you, Melanie, under the item for discussion. This is, that was some interesting reading on this.
Yes, sir, the resolution, I think we've been getting quite a few here lately asking for some things that typically aren't public records, that typically have to be subpoenaed, I believe, by the, I guess, through, I don't know how that works exactly, if they can subpoena. But,
That's why our investigation going on under that code, like.
Well, and this is something I had requested because there's a lot of misconception about what is and what isn't public record. Certainly 99% of what the city maintains is public record, but there are some caveats, some cutouts. 911 tapes, for example, those are protected because people that call in don't want their voice to be on the news. That's protected by law. Investigative reports, investigative files, and any evidence going on a police investigation, those are of course protected until they are released by the court. So any of those records have to be subpoenaed through the courts. There is a review process obviously for that, but not through the city clerk. Other day-to-day operations, for example, tax records that are kept by finance are not public record, as well as some court documents are not public records. Certainly people's privacy has to be protected in those ways. Social security numbers, a lot of the data that we maintain, those are not public records. So what this is request is to update our ordinance. So when people do, and a lot of times it comes from attorneys, this is where most of those requests come from. Attorneys ask for any and all documents relating to an investigation. They can then be shown through this ordinance and given the law that says that, and most of them from out of state, not familiar with Alabama law too, to be fair. But then they would be told on the front side, that's the wrong avenue to, those aren't quote public records. So public records are, things that happen in this room managed by this board. So that's what is public record. Just clarify again for what to the public of what is and what isn't. It'll solve a lot of repetitive denials whenever we can go ahead and put it in the record that what is public record.
Any other comments or any questions, council? Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
I think
It's
so
pretty
too.
clear cut.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's the right thing to do too. Okay.
And I was thinking we would put it, with y'all's approval, we could, have it on the April the 7th agenda.
Yeah.
Let's just look ahead.
Okay, anything else, no?
No, sir, that was it.
Well, council, we're gonna go ahead and get into the, agenda for tomorrow. And we all know that it's the, second meeting of this month. It's at 6 o'clock as, Mrs. Lee has stated. This is the one where we take around each quarter in that district, so we'll be in District 1, as she stated. So we will call the meeting in order at that time. The invitation will be done by Reverend Clementine Warren, who has confirmed.
She did confirm.
So, she has confirmed she'll do the invocation, and then I will lead us with the pledge. And then we have no presentations or proclamation. And so we'll get into the city clerk, under the approval of the regular scheduled meeting minutes. We need to take these separately because Mr. Gordon, Councilman Gordon, was not at the work session. So we will take these separately, okay, council?
Yes.
On the first one, I will ask for a motion for the approval of the work session on the second. We'll ask for a motion and second on that. Then we will get that on Robert rules, and then, we'll ask for a motion and a second for the approval of the March 3rd meeting, which, Mr. Gordon was there. Okay, council? So we will take those items separately due to the fact that, Mr. Gordon was not at the work session. Then proceeding on the city council, if there's any unfinished business, then would be the time for us to discuss between now and yonder. If you think about something, we can bring it up tomorrow, but we would like to say that if it's something that's going to be, convoluting to community, we probably don't need to bring it up and talk about it at the right time. And we don't know what that is, if that ever happens, if that ever happens. Okay? Then, we will proceed on the resolutions. The first one is on administration, is resolution number 2020 -92 to be ratified in reference to approve the final settlement in accordance with the terms of the pro tanto release in the manner of the lawsuit filed by Whistle, how you pronounce that? Whittlesey, yeah, like the road over here. Whittlesey and Poon and Corley PC on behalf of Sidney V. Carter in the amount of $25,000, and we all know what that concluded of. And, you know, I read it, it was kind of funny to me.
Mayor, I think she probably, or he probably not sitting there. It's just a different way to spell sitting. The name,
Sydney.
Sydney.
Sydney. Okay. So we will ask for a motion and a second on that after the clerk read. Okay? Any questions or comments? On administration, B is resolution in reference to approving the final settlement in the matter of the claim filed by Morgan and Morgan on behalf of Jamilian Edmonds by and through next of kin, Satavis Edmonds, in the amount of $5,000. We'll ask the clerk to read that, and we'll ask for a motion and a second on that. Any questions or discussion? Proceeding on administration C is a resolution in reference to approving the final settlement in the matter of the claim filed by Morgan and Morgan on behalf of Jamilian Edmonds by and through next of kin, Satavis Edmonds, in the amount of $5,000. We'll ask the clerk to read that, and after the reading of the proclamation, we'll ask for a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Let's try to do them all today, so hopefully for the sake of time, tomorrow. Okay? Questions or comments?
I think so, there'll be a lot of young people.
Yeah, every one of them that we discussed thus far, even the first one that we want to ratify. Then under D is a resolution in reference to approving the final settlement in the matter of claim filed by Morgan and Morgan on behalf of Satavis Edmonds in the amount of $8,000. We'll ask the clerk to read that, and we'll ask for a motion and a second for approval. Okay, any questions or comments?
Get kinda hard, this. These,
It saves a whole lot of money. Particularly-
We don't have, litigation. People, so to say.
I like the bank.
So, yeah,
Think you got all the money.
Being without that. This is just one thing that's for sure to happen.
Okay, on the E, there's a resolution in reference to requesting the Alabama Department of Transportation to perform a study to reduce the speed along the section of US Highway 431 from the 280/431 interchange to Downing Drive. We will ask the clerk to read that, and we will ask for a motion and a second for approval of that. Any questions, comment, or discussion? Proceeding on an administration F, there's a resolution in reference to awarding a bid to Robinson Paving Company for hot mix asphalt paving and roadway improvements. We'll ask the clerk to read that, and after that, we will ask for a motion in a second. Okay,
you know, see, that was the only bid, and they're pretty much the only company around that offer that service.
Yes, ma'am, we did send it out on our bid list. I know that we did send it out to 2 other contractors, and we ran it in the newspaper like we're required to, but no one else bid the project at Robinson.
When you're in there, that's the second point of time with 2 weeks, 3 weeks of money.
Yes, sir, we ran it according to finances, based off the amount of projects that we have.
And it's just, we go by state law on the bid laws, and our ordinance is in some instances more stringent even than state law, but in that particular instance, we follow exactly the state law guidelines, and we write it in the newspaper, and we put out a public notice, it's posted on the website, and everywhere we can post it. These big paving companies, asphalt is so heavy, the transportation costs. So if you got a plant that's closer, they have a huge advantage because of the hauling, and
It's not.
they don't like to bid against.
but they got a unique situation over there.
To break it
They
down
do.
in simple form, it's the biggest portion of it. They gobble up the smaller companies. Just same way you see telephone companies do each other, sometimes cable providers. And then you got East Alabama, which is another large one, but they agree to share territories. And they monopolize. But it's under law. They can't do it.
No, we go out and do those.
Yeah, we do everything we're supposed to do, but they got, I wish it was more options. But at the same time, they buy each other out
Yeah,
and
but
control it.
they own the certain
they got-
things
they
that
got
someone
plans.
else don't.
That's
Yeah.
right, they got plenty
That's the
of other people
uniqueness
we
of
buy
them.
from. Yeah, so it's the biggest, whoever's the biggest, they just go, and that, I hate that in a way, because you don't have all
That's
the
right.
choices, but
No,
if I'm running their business, I'm trying to get the monopoly. So I have to think of it in both ways, I can't stand it, but they got it.
Open up Chicago Road somewhere.
Well, there's 20 something there.
That's all the corners.
they may have more than one, maybe that's the corporate office, I'm sure they got different sites. Angel, have you seen in the past, that they've, reduced the unit cost because, you know, they get the bid, they get the contract year after year. Have you
Right.
seen where they kind of give us a break on some of the unit costs for the material?
They've given us a break on some of the ways that they help us with, like, you know, they allow us to buy some of the pipe sometimes if we have a pipe bid and we see that it's gonna be cheaper that way. But the asphalt costs and everything, that's basically running what the DOT projects and everything are, so I mean.
The specs.
Right, and it's all based off of this asphalt and adjustment index, how much asphalt they're putting into the mix, it's all, you would wonder how in the world did they come up with this? But this time we did go in and have a year 1, a year 2, and a year 3. So they were pricing it just based off of what asphalt was gonna cost at that year 3 if we continue to do the contract. So we did see a little bit of savings doing it that way. So year 1, you know, we're gonna get a better price than what we did in year 3 based off of course, just, you know, things going up over time.
Let me ask you another question. I know, there's no way nobody depends on the traffic flow and stuff like that, trucks and all that. And when they do those jobs, is that do we do some type of guarantee or something? I know it depends on the traffic, the heavy trucks and all that. You don't put the homes it back into the, road once they pay.
No, sir. I mean, if it's right after or anything like that, and they'll come back in and do, redo the project. And we'll go out there and inspect the project afterwards. But I mean, if they're paving back over a road that's been out there, for 20 years and you have a base failure come back in it, 2 years later, that's not necessarily that's not the asphalt plant's problem. We had, the road was weak in that area. And we do try to, we've got in the bid where we go in and have them patch it and everything like that. And another thing that we did do in this bid is, since we are having our pavement plan that engineering company's doing,
Yeah.
we went in and added some additional types of treatments besides just resurfacing, so we can do pavement preservations based off of what they're recommending, like doing some micro surfacing, some G treatments is what they call them. So we did add some additional things in there than what would just be on a normal paving bid, because we are trying to be proactive. And like Crawford Road, we're seeing some cracks show up out there. Well, we need to go ahead and seal that so that we can get some additional years out of that pavement, since we just resurfaced it about 5 years
So
ago.
we don't seal it, water stuff seep down between that and then won't last as long.
No, sir, water is the worst thing that you can have for a road, for sure.
And one last question. I know we can do a lot of the patching in-house. What determines if we'll take it to the company?
If sometimes utilities, they do like really long, if we do like a water line extension or a water line remediation project where they go and they cut, like 500 feet, we're not really capable of doing that in-house. We can't get a nice smooth patch. And if you're gonna mess up the road that much, then we need to go ahead and try to put it back with the asphalt company. They just have different types of equipment than what our public works has, because they're in the business to do that. We can handle small cuts,
Yeah.
but nothing like that. And we do,
Makes
depending
sense.
on the material and stuff like that, if we see that there's just a lot of bad material in one area, we'll have them come back in with their compactors and everything like that, that we know we're gonna get a better project with them.
Let me ask you this, over there, I seen this happen. Okay, you go ahead and patch the road for, maybe 30 or 40 feet, right? Then what happened, soon they get that traffic going, is that a certain time and they can keep the traffic off, take it hard, or just let it come on through the finish?
There's a certain time, but it's all based off the compaction rate, the big rollers that you see. At a certain time, once they get it compacted enough, then you can allow traffic to go back on it. It's not like concrete where it stays wet or anything for a long time. So once it starts cooling off, you start gaining some of that strength back.
This one, all right, thanks.
Any other questions, comment? We'll ask for the motion and second after the clerk read the resolution. Proceeding on the building department. We have a public hearing and approval of 3 resolutions in reference to the fixing of costs incurred by the city of Phenix City for the removal of substandard structures and the establishment of special assessment upon properties located at. Now, we'll read those out, but as you all see, we have a public hearing, which I will call for a public hearing. Then I will ask the clerk to read one master resolution, and we will ask for a motion, and a second and one vote. But how would that be done since it's close to the public hearing? Would it have to be?
Well, of course, the meeting's still gonna be open to the public. We're just encouraging people to, watch it via the website. I believe we're gonna have a short telephone out there under the phone number that they can call in if they want to address the public hearing without actually being there. We'll have that going. I think we'll have a special number set up
Yes.
for that.
Okay.
We got a lot.
And you'll have the phone number and you'll say, you'll give the phone number and then, the time to open it.
So we will disclose it if they wanna have the hearing.
So there'll be enough time to do that, man? Yeah, enough time.
Oh, yeah, we give them as much time as they need. As long as it, it's within the confinement of.
But I'm talking, you just allow for 2 or 3 minutes, nobody forward and move on.
Yeah, we get, just like we normally do. If no one step forward, we'll close it and move on. Yeah, maybe, we may be a tad longer since, we have the phone. But,
Right.
Yeah.
we'll just do it typically. If no one steps forward, if no one calls, we'll close the public hearing. You see them. All right, next on the engineer of public works. It's a resolution in reference to declaring one traffic control cabinet as surplus to be sold as scrap or disposed of at the city landfill. So we will ask the clerk to read that, and we'll ask for a motion on the second.
You don't have anything in those cabinets you can establish.
No, sir, we've gotten out everything that we can. This one was actually hit by a car, so that's why we're having to, get rid of this one. But we get everything out that we can, go back and reuse.
Okay, any other questions or comment? Okay, proceeding on the Parks and Recreation. We have a resolution in reference to authorizing the mayor and city managers to enter into an agreement with Paradigm Talent Agency, LLC, for both touring incorporation to perform at the Phenix City Amphitheater on June the 25th, 2020. So we will ask the reading of the resolution by the clerk, and we'll ask for a motion and a second on that. Any questions or comment or discussion?
Is this one of the last ones, Todd, and we can put the posters out after we approve this one?
Actually, this is actually coming in after we've already printed the posters. We had an opportunity to get this company, this band, they wanted to come to us. We're actually starting a tour off. They're an older rock band, and they have their own following. We're gonna actually set the ticket prices at $35 a
Yeah, I
ticket.
saw that. It's,
This is a unique situation for us. They have a following. We expect to sell out. We're gonna sell 1,500
the
tickets.
net looks good.
And this is the first time we've done this, and so we got Mr. Hunter and got Steve and kind of rolling the dice, if you will, on this one. But
Well, if it works out, it'll be a good
if it works out, we should be doing good. This is something new for us.
So that money will go back into your budget, right?
It'll go into the general fund. Yes, sir. All our money, we take it into the general fund.
I looked at the spread on it, so it ain't bad.
They sell out anywhere they go, but they have a following. You can go out on the website, YouTube, and look at mode.
So that's based, the net is based on 1,500
Yes,
tickets, but that doesn't it hold more than
it's
that?
a whole 3,000, yes, sir, but
But we,
when you go to that 1,500 mark,
it's
the
all
price we
great.
got the band for is based off 1,500 ticket sales. We sell more than that, we gotta get the band more money. That's how they work, that's how these companies work. So we're shooting for 1,500, and if we can sell out 1,500, then hopefully they'll allow us to add the 500, then that'll be straight. No profit for us.
Everything over 1,500 goes straight up.
That's right.
Will they have concession and all that? Everything will be set up and those,
Yeah, we
monies
can
earned
hang
will
on,
be.
it'll be, remember we did a contract earlier in the year with B&B Beverage. to
Oh,
have all
okay,
our
yeah,
concession on.
yeah.
We'll still get that money as well. That money's not factored in. The money you see was going down, it's off the ticket sales.
Just hope we can have nice weather, that's all.
Yes, sir. That's always a gamble.
Can't control it. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Next on the Parks and Recreation Department is resolution in reference to declaring various personal items as surplus to be sold as scrap or stored at the city landfill. We'll ask the clerk to read that, and we will ask for a motion on second for approval. Any questions or comments? Okay. And proceeding on the board appointments. Downtown Redevelopment Authority, we had one opening, we tabled it 3 times, twice last month, and the first meeting this time, so we got some names turned in.
We have three names
Got 3
now.
names, so.
Yes, sir. The third name came in maybe a couple of 2-3 hours before this work session. So, Wiley Thomas.
So we'll,
You say Wiley?
set up and do the interviews.
This board doesn't, I mean, if y'all want to do one, we can, it's not one that requires one. So
Okay.
if
So
y'all want to
how-
go that route, let me know.
No, not if we don't have to, but how will we come to the conclusion?
Well, for sure, fine, me, I mean.
How will we come into, I mean, gotta have
So
something.
y'all
Well,
revote.
it's up to y'all what you want to do, given that.
I mean, I know that,
This, it's gonna come before this board with the convention center and everything.
we gotta get the right.
Might want to consider interviewing this time, because this is gonna be an important board over the next 2 years. Now, they have not been active for several years because we haven't had a lot of stuff going on downtown. But you're about to have a lot of stuff going on downtown.
So which means.
It's up to the council what you want to do now,
No,
but
well, that's
I
what we
would
got to
recommend
do.
that you talk to them first.
So you're suggesting that we talk.
We interview.
Yes.
Speaking of that, man, I do have a question about, how's that, project, I mean, how's test coming on down there?
How about the 431 project?
No, right down here, the 175 pumps.
Oh, that's gonna take a long time and
It's in the
to
embryonic
be
stage.
done. We're in
We're still,
the early stages, but
land on it, stuff.
we do have,
Ground on it.
we do have a group coming in.
Phases are done.
Phase
Phase one and phase two is done.
We finished that.
So what we waiting on phase two?
No, sir.
It's done.
We
It's
deal
environmental.
with people, this is gonna be a
Well-
different development today, it's something we just have to acquire the land right now. We're waiting on, we have to supposed to be visiting to see about some things, but this corona stuff has changed everything, so.
I'm just wondering.
When that gets started, this, like we said before, this ain't nothing that's gonna move real fast. Yeah.
It's in the embryonic
Yeah,
stage.
think about what, 3 years or.
Things
together. But we have had talked to numerous people and that have come to us wanting to partner in this project. And now the coronavirus and that may slow things up. I expect it will slow things up over the next couple of months now. So don't expect any news for a while. But we do have numerous people that, I mean, Wallace has had, I don't know, what, 5 or 6 companies call him and want to talk to us. There's a lot of interest in this project.
Which is good.
We fully expected it'll get done, but it's not gonna get done in a hurry. This is a 2 or 3 year planned out and get developed and time you do the engineering and planning and then you gotta gonna take a year to build it once you go under construction. This is gonna be a slow thing to happen.
I understand that, but in other words, what I can get out of my mind is that 431 project might well get out the end of the
I might
one.
well leave this one alone. That'd be real nice if we didn't start on this one already.
Yeah, 431 project, you're talking about April at this virus, you know, release.
Everybody might as well put their gear in neutral. They might as well really, I'm gonna be saying something y'all in a few minutes, you know, and say.
That's all right.
This is hours.
That's all right. I just tell you, cause it'll be about.
Well, just don't get
No, we ain't
me.
missing the thing.
But anyway, yeah,
We'll get to that.
we at a time where we're not gonna have, a lot of room and time for
It's
agitation
unprecedented
and
time.
agitation.
Yeah.
It's got to be out the window. I'm in a mode now that's, you know, that we really got to be in. And I'm not, and I won't be changing no time soon.
It's unprecedented time.
We are at a time. This is serious.
Yeah.
It's real serious. And we as a people, let me say this, we are so spoiled and rotten and don't want to accept what's happening into where it's gonna cause us many more problems. You don't have no choice in this.
You got to relent.
It's the discipline that you gotta try to show. And there are people that's got this, it's gonna be tough, because we're a small society.
Let's go back to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But anyway, we are going, so what I would say tomorrow, that we have names turned in, and due to the opportunities that the city has, normally we do not innovate for this board, but due to all the opportunities that the city has, within the next 2, 4, 5 years, we all feel compelled that we need to interview these persons, because it's going to be mission critical that we get the right person based on those opportunities. Now, that ain't gonna come out the same tomorrow. But I don't think it's gonna come out verbatim that way, but that's what I will, that's how we'll count it. Y'all agree with that or not?
I mean, I just had a question. Okay, so we have 5 members on the on that board. Myself, we got David Jones, Susan Wiggins, J.W. Brandon, and I think Assistant City Manager. You're on that board, right?
I'm the
You're
treasurer.
present.
I'm not a voting member, but I am the treasurer and the
Okay.
city's representative.
Okay. So we got 5 on that board. My question is that a limit? Is there a limit, and can the board be extended?
Ordinance that
I don't know
started
what the
that board
ordinance
said you had to amend the ordinance to change that.
Okay. So
There's an ordinance that established that board that sets in those 5 members
okay.
and how they're appointed and everything. You'd have to amend the ordinance to change that.
It's a law.
Okay.
So we'll explain that tomorrow.
So you want interviews set up after at the next work
The
session
next
after that? meeting?
Yes, yeah. And I will explain that, because typically we don't do it. All right, any other questions or comments? Next on the license application, this is the second reading. And, it is an application for a bonding company license submitted by Moses Hopper for authority to bear bonds. Corporation located at 123 Lee Street, Montgomery, Alabama, 36109. The first reading is on the third. We're not asked the clerk to reread it, but we will ask for a motion in a second to approve. Okay? All right, any questions or comments? Then on the city attorney, we have one claim. Can Jimmy hear us? Can you hear us, Jimmy?
Yes, sir, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. We're at your point with a claim filed by Mr. Charles Turnage. You may proceed.
Yes, sir, Mr. Turnage, claims that the city is liable for a tree that fell off of city property and damaged his windshield on his, vehicle. You got Todd's, memorandum, which says that we didn't have any, notice or concern from the property owner or anyone else about the condition of the tree. And as you know, I've told you time after time, if we don't have notice, we're not liable. So my recommendation is going to be to deny the claim.
Okay. Any questions or comment, council? All right, thank you, Jimmy.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else, council, before we turn it over to the city manager? All right, Mr. Hunter?
Two things on executive session, for Representative Black Shoes, Chris Black Shoes, he would talk to y'all about a couple things. Talk about,
That's a good name and character.
yeah, good name character in there. And
It's
then,
gotta have a ring.
I need to talk to y'all about the, changes that we're gonna be doing in the city. Deal with this virus.
So is that,
A couple of things, it's got to do with man character or something.
Names. Okay, anything else before we act? Yes,
Just a
Amy?
couple things. Tomorrow, Fifth Street South, that's gonna be closed to through traffic. We're gonna,
I didn't hear you.
tomorrow on Fifth Street South, the contractor's gonna be pouring those driveways on one side of the street. So we're gonna close that to through traffic, so you can go one way from 431 to Sill Road, but we're having to allow people to park on a portion of the street because they can't park in their driveways and have to pour the concrete there. So if everybody's just aware of that, and then also Opelika Road Bridge Project, we're scheduled to close that bridge on the Monday, the 23rd. We're putting some signs out there this week so the public will know we're getting ready to do that. We've tried to publicize it as much as we can, so everybody will know that, because that's gonna be, like we say, a long detour. So I'll make sure I'll say something tomorrow evening too, while we're on.
It's been advertised on TV too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just- it is what it is.
It'll be okay, Steve.
Yeah, I live on the road, you know.
What, Mr. Hunt, what you say, we are a small society?
People don't get ready to do that.
The problem is the snowstorm back there.
Yeah.
That Thursday back.
Yeah.
In schools,
Whatever that is.
in the morning,
Snowfall.
things to start. The traffic already backs up past my driveway, just make sure your phone on that.
I was on my phone, yes,
Wearing the, council shirt, the white shirt.
I don't know.
I got funny
Talk
phone.
about-
All right.
Police officer out there, get us figure out.
No, don't do that, Steve. No, onion juice. Stay away from that onion juice.
They
They look,
Mr. Glass really has something pleasant about their place.
don't give them onion juice and they'll pour it on you too. All right,
Mayor, how long are y'all gonna be? in
Mr. Hunt, how
session?
long we need to be in executive session? How long you need, Representative Blackshear?
I don't need long. I mean, it depends on questions. I would say,
No, just, we need.
my part, 15, 20 minutes maybe.
No, let's say 30 minutes.
I didn't know I was gonna let him piggyback this part too. I don't know.
So 30, 40 minutes.
I don't see you over there.
45
minutes.
45 minutes.
Okay, 45 minutes.
Yeah,
And
combined.
from which y'all will adjourn.
We're gonna adjourn after that. We're not gonna adjourn.
Well,
Yeah.
this is gonna be some department heads.
Who all you
some of
need to
them,
stay in here?
They're gonna, some of them will go out, some of them may want to hear it, I have to say when it comes up part, so they can hang around through here.
I don't
But
care.
you can go
You're-
first.
Yeah, you're,
You go
whatever
first.
you want from me.
Should we do you first and then they can be excused and then?
Whichever way, you know.
Yeah, since they need to hear it.
Someone, yeah.
But after the executive session is over, the meeting is adjourned.
Yeah, we're gonna call.
Yeah, let's do that, let's go there.
So let's do this, since that's the case, since everybody in here. At this time, council, I'd like to call for a motion for approval to go in executive session for good name and character.
Motion approved.
Motion, Mr. Gordon, second, Mr. Day. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. No opposed,
You gotta make sure.
so ready, close the door. All right, come on in, Sheriff. And, Tom? Chris, yeah.
You can say if you want to.
I'm good.
Oh, no.